Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Chefs to Watch. We have got Caleb Hicks here. He is executive chef at Providence Point, a retirement community in Pittsburgh with food service run by Cura Hospitality, which is a unit of Elior in North America. Welcome, Caleb.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so something that we always ask our chefs to watch is kind of your origin story. How did you get into senior dining?
Um, I came here from the Breakers in West Palm Beach, Florida. So I got fine dining experience from there. Our executive chef here was one of my friends at the time, so he hired me along as his sous chef. And as time went on, he moved on, and I took the executive chef position here.
Oh, very cool. I was just in that area. I was at the SHFM conference, which was in Jacksonville, Florida. And then I drove down the coast, the Atlantic coast, which I was not that familiar with. And I think I passed through Palm Beach area. So very fancy there for
Oh,
sure.
yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And are you originally from the Pittsburgh area?
I am originally from Buffalo, New York. And then
Okay.
I went to college in Pittsburgh here, and then after that I went to Florida for a couple of years, and then they brought me back here to Pittsburgh.
So you're used to the snow if you're from Buffalo. Like
Oh yeah, the snow here is nothing.
I was going to say Pittsburgh winter would be easy compared to Buffalo.
Yes.
'Cause in Cleveland, we're all just like, as much as we complain, we're like, at least it's not Buffalo. We know
Yes.
you really get socked in the wintertime for sure.
Yes.
Definitely. So during the pandemic, you guys had just gotten done with some major construction in your facilities and the dining areas, or you just got done and then the pandemic came. So what was the pandemic like for you guys? Like obviously hard, probably.
We had to really cut down on a bunch of things. We had to start going to deliveries for our main dining room as people were told to quarantine. So we had to quickly change over to deliveries, and the day-to-day process was different. You come in and you just don't know what the new regulations are going to be. So it's just rolling with that. We then, once quarantines were getting over, we started going into the social distance of opening up at 50% dining in the dining room. And then we went to 75%. And then things started rolling the way they were. And it was just everything was switching back and forth day to day.
Yeah, and being used to serving seniors like in a dining room, like you mentioned, totally different, getting things ready. Like you increased your grab and go a whole bunch too, right?
Yes. Our cafe really took off during that time of quick grab and go items that were easier for there because people couldn't come to the dining room. So they were looking for items that they could
Just
come in and get different. Yeah. Just,
A little bit of
a little bit of seeing someone too, social
Mhm.
and everything.
Oh, sure.
So,
Right. Yeah. That the aspect of eating together is like such an important part of senior dining, like because it's you have residents that are this is where they live, like this is their home. So not being able to eat has just been so heart-wrenching, like for those folks that like they like to get together and be social. So is that coming back a little bit now? Like you're feeling like cautiously like safer with having people sit down in the dining room?
we definitely feel a lot safer having people in the dining room. And I do believe that all of the residents here feel very comfortable with how we do it. We still social distance a little bit. We move to reservations instead of just coming in, so we can,
Yeah.
we can space it out how it comes in and everything like that, and how we're sanitizing and everything. They really see all those things that we're doing. And with our construction that we had, the new equipment and all the expansions they did to the dining room really saved us through this.
Oh, that's cool. You had to test the stuff out like under crazy circumstances.
Oh yes.
So, yeah.
Oh yes.
For sure. So when we're speaking about feeding seniors and like the well-being that goes with it and the social aspect, it's also nutritional. So like what are some of the elements that most of your residents, like specifically, you're trying to get into their diets? Like how are you trying to keep them like healthy? Like what are they needing in terms of nourishment?
With Cura, we have this Be Well program,
Mm,
and that has a bunch of nutritional stuff in it, and we follow those guidelines. So we have one of those items on our menu every day available for them. We hit up vegetarian a lot now. We've seen a very big growth in vegetarians here wanting those items. So we're going that route there, but we also offer the traditional meals and international stuff. We hit all cuisines here. We hit Greek, we hit uh,
nice.
Chinese, Thai food, Mexican,
Oh.
lots of Italian, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, and like within those cuisines, you can add like beans, plant-based stuff, like many like whole grains, things like that. Because Pittsburgh is kind of like a melting pot the way Cleveland is. It's like many different like nationalities where you can give somebody something like a taste from home. Super cool.
Yes.
Definitely. And a lot of times people say, like this new generation of older folks, they're well traveled and they like to try new things, which is true. But I think there's always going to be like the meat and potatoes, like because I think there's people like our age that are meat and potatoes people, and my daughter is like 12 years old, and she only like so it's like I wanted to ask about sort of the like a signature dish or something that everybody goes crazy for, like when you make it, like what would you say that is?
Um, well, recently we just had moussaka on, a
Ooh,
traditional Greek moussaka on, and we got tons of compliments on it. And that was something we just decided we were going to go a little crazy on and
mm,
see
mm.
how they liked it, and they loved it. They really,
And that's the one with eggplant, right?
yes,
Oh, very cool. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's ground lamb, eggplant with a bechamel sauce on top
Like,
of it.
the Greek dishes are so good. And what is the other one? Pistachio, which is just kind of like more of like a lasagna type. And I think there's pasta in there, but it also has the bechamel and the ground lamb. That's
Yes.
such a good protein. I don't think that we use lamb enough. It really, and people are like afraid of it, but it tastes so it's delicious.
Yeah, we have it on the menu here a couple of times, and our residents definitely like it.
Oh yeah, that is good food. So since things are starting to come back a little bit, like you also are maybe having some events or some special like parties. I wanted to see what are some like what does catering look like to you lately? What are some like items that have worked well or different things you've been doing?
Yeah, right now we're definitely doing smaller catering events because of
Yeah,
staffing challenges. So we're really focusing on in their apartments or in their home
that's nice.
catering parties. So hors d'oeuvres, trade stuff that we can send
Yeah.
that way there.
That's cool. And this time of year, it's like just having those little snacks and hors d'oeuvres and things like that. Do you do anything for New Year's Eve? Does everybody stay up? Because I don't even stay up till midnight anymore.
Um, the residents here really don't stay up. We do in our chartiers room, we do appetizers. They have a big screen and they watch the ball drop in there, but it's nothing super special. And I don't think many of them actually stay up to do it anymore.
Yeah, well, and when my daughter was very little, the library had something called Noon Year's Eve. So it was like they would pretend like noon was with the countdown, and I was like, that's a good way to do it. Because I last year I slept through it and I felt great, and I don't think I'm going to stop. I think I'm going to continue.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see any point to stay up for it anymore.
No, forget it. So, as we get into that new year, what are some like new cuisines or techniques or menu items that you're looking forward to trying?
I always love experimenting with new international cuisines. I love challenging myself to different dishes there that are odd that we haven't done here before. As I said earlier, we just started doing Thai food and stuff like that on our menu here, and it's been doing pretty well here. And we like to do theme meal nights here just to change things up and everything like that.
Very fun. I think that with Thai food, at least like for me, like as a home cook, like trying Thai food, the main things that you need are like the chili paste, like red chili paste or green or yellow, I think. And then it's like you mix that with coconut milk. It seems like so many recipes are
Yes.
that, and it kind of really works. Like it's like if you don't have like if you're obviously if you're not making your own like paste with all the different chilies and everything, that it's delicious. That really works pretty well, I think.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot of dishes that use coconut milk, and with those hot spices and everything, The coconut milk really tones it down
Does
to
it taste
mellow everything
down?
out.
And there's a sweetness to it also.
Yes.
And I just recently did a story about pad thai too, and I was like, that's just such a good dish, and that one's kinda hard to make at home. I've not, like, perfected that at all. I need to get that from a place, but that's another good one with, like, the fresh flavors.
Yeah, we actually have that on our menu here.
Nice. I'm gonna have to
Yes.
try that.
Cody
Sure.
will share the recipe.
We'll share the recipe with you.
Awesome. Yes, we will I will hold you to that. Very cool. So, and since you are a chef to watch, we are gonna be keeping an eye on you and following up and into the new year. Can't wait to see what you do next. We appreciate what you're doing, and thank you so much for being our chef to watch.
All right. Thank you for having me.